Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything movies, TV, comics, and entertainment. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go. Welcome to a very special edition of Fanlight Zone Presents. My name is Ken M. You know me as the host of the ODPH podcast. I'm also the editor-in-chief here at FLZ. To my left, you're right at home. He's the host of 607 TWS, The Wrestling Show, and one of our executive producers here at FLZ. Please give a warm welcome to Rich.
Yes, I am here, and it is a wonderful week here at FLZ Presents because it is award season.
Yes,
and
indeed.
we had to give out some awards of our own, so I'm excited to be here as always.
Yes, indeed, as 2025 is coming to an end, and our company has now been 1 month old. So definitely shout out to the entire team at Fanlight Zone. We said we're going to do our award show because we want to honor the best of the best in comics this year. And what a year it's been. There's been so much creativity, so many stories to go talk about. I know I mentioned this in a blog article that's up right now on the website that you can go check out, recapping the largest stories of the year. But we want to honor the creators and the stories that we have remembered so fondly here in the past 12 months, and definitely be excited for what's coming in 2026. And what better way to do it than with our own award show, the Fanlight Awards.
Ooh.
So we are doing our first annual show because, trust us, we have many, many years of this to come. So definitely, wherever you're watching, we got a little bit of homework to get out of the way because we want to make sure you're following fanlightzone.com. And all the social media links are right up there on the screen. So you want to subscribe, like, share. It's going to be very important, but we'll get into that a little later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But without further ado, Rich, we got to talk some comics. We have to talk about the creators that have been doing such amazing work throughout the year. And let's start off with...
Before we go there, though, I just want to point out, this year is a little different because since we're only 1 month old, we actually just did in-house. So this is all from the voting happened just between the Fanlight Zone team. But in the future years, we're going to go back to the fan vote because, hey, that's what we want to do. It's the Fanlight Zone.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, this year, listen, we could have picked 1.5 million different things. The staff could have picked 1.5 million different things. We think that we went with a nice wide array. However, we understand that some of you might have different opinions, and that's fine. Just be respectful, and we do want you in the comments. So make sure for all of these, if you had a different opinion, pick it out because we just alluded to it. Subscribing to the YouTube channel is part one of what is going to come into play later.
Mm-hmm. But
part two is actually comments. So your comments and giving who you would have picked, whether you agree or disagree, is another way to get entries into, like I said, what we'll go over later. But
indeed,
now let's get the show on the road since we got the groundwork is all laid down. Let's talk some winners.
Indeed. First, foremost, we got to talk about letterers in comics. They are one of the most important elements of making comics. Their work definitely brings the writing to life on the page, literally. And great lettering will make an average story pop even more when you see it next to the art on the page. And this year, there's so many great letters to go from.
Tons.
That we decided to honor one that I know from the series that he has worked on with Stephanie Phillips, Flaviano, Rico Renzi. His work speaks for itself. And this year, he was also working on New Gods for DC Comics and literally took some minor moments and made them into extraordinary events. And when you can do this in any comic, we definitely have to give some praise. So the first Fanlight Award goes for Best Letter of the Year, and that's the Tom Napolitano from Grimm by Boom Studios and the New Gods from DC Comics.
Very awesome, very good, very well deserved. One of the most unsung heroes, if you will, is the letterer. So it's always nice to see letterers get their due. And I do. This is a great choice. But shout out to all the other great letterers out there because, like we could go through the long laundry list. I know that I was had a couple of pictures like Andrew Dahlhaus does a great job. We obviously, the letterer is always an unsung hero of comic books, and that's why it's always great to give letterers their due. And I think this is a great choice this year. Very good. And like I said, this is no shade against any other letterer out there because letterers, literally, I mean, there's so many great ones and somebody's got to win every, once a year. So,
absolutely.
So I think this is a great pick. Grimm is a tremendous book with some tremendous lettering, and the New God stuff was really good as well.
Well, you have to think about with Grimm too. One thing that has always jumped out about the series is with Stephanie Phillips incorporating music lyrics into the writing. what Tom has done with this, and this has been since issue 1, is taking the lyrics from Don't Fear the Reaper by the Blue Oyster Cult and entwining them in the snow. And it's such a cool visual. Like, that's what was one of the biggest things that hooked me on that series when it first started. So when you see now what he was doing in New Gods this year, and then obviously Grimm, which is unfortunately has ran its course at Boom Studios, but fear not, huge news coming there with it now being adapted for an animated series for Netflix, or option for it. So definitely exciting times. Tom's work has definitely made that impact, and that's what made that series so special. And that's why he's getting the first Fanlight Award ever. So
Yeah.
big deal happening there.
There you go.
Next up, best colorist of the year, because obviously when you're doing your art, you got to have somebody bring the moments to life. And obviously colorist is so vital, because that is just something that just elevates any piece of the panel that you see on screen to a new level. And there are so many great ones to go around, that when we were breaking this down amongst our team, we're huge Ghost Machine fans. And to see the work that this colorist does time in and time out, especially with their franchise player. I mean, I think all of them are kind of franchise at this point, but you think about the work that Brad Anderson has done, especially with Geiger and the other books on the line. Phenomenal work, time in and time out. He is our vote for best colorist of the year.
Yeah, and I'm not just being biased because I do review Geiger, but Geiger, like the glowing man effect alone, is one of the hardest things to do in comics as far as colors go, and in the different situations and Gary Frank does such a great job of drawing it. So the fact that Brad does a great and tremendous job of like really bringing that to life is a testament to how good Brad Anderson is at the end of the day. And I think when we were talking about colorists, there's a ton of them. Once again, it's one
absolutely.
of those things we were picking from your favorite children, if you will. But Geiger alone was like when we were putting everything on the scale, and not saying that Brad doesn't do great work elsewhere, because he does great work across the whole line for Ghost Machine, because he pretty much does almost the whole line. But Geiger alone was like that was my deciding vote, just because I was like, hey, just like I said, you could see on that cover, if you go back to that graphic, if you've never seen the work of the glowing man, that is just phenomenal. And the effect to make it you're making a picture on a page look like that. Obviously, shout outs to Gary Frank for the amazing artwork, but like, let's be honest, the colors is what make it pop.
Absolutely. So you can't go wrong there.
Oh, absolutely.
So 2 awards down, many more to go. So make sure you're throwing your picks in the chat, because we definitely want to check that out and interact with everybody on the socials, wherever you're finding the show from. We're definitely going to be interacting with you about that. Next up, one of the toughest awards to pick this year, Artist of the Year. And there has been so much phenomenal art in comics that this was a highly debated topic amongst our team. And when the dust was settled, the smoke was cleared, it came down to the visual impact that this artist had on the books that they were involved with. And the one that jumped out to me was my pick for best Batman series of the year. And that is saying something, because I love what has been going on in Detective Comics, the regular series Batman and Robin. But for my money this year, Batman Dark Patterns was the best Batman series out, period. You can argue with Absolute Batman, but
I was going to say, not named Absolute Batman?
Well, I say the traditional Batman, because Absolute's a whole different ball wax. But for my money, well, I mean, even at times it gave a run. But to see what Hayden Sherman has done with this series, and Absolute Wonder Woman too, phenomenal work. And Hayden won the vote this year.
Yeah, a tremendous work. Absolute Wonder Woman, tremendous. Batman Dark Patterns, tremendous. Like I said, there's a lot of great artists out there. It was highly, this was a knockdown, drag out affair. I know that. I mean, myself, there was so many that I was a game for. We talked about Gary Frank already. You have to talk about Gary Frank. He's a legend. On top of that, Jonathan Lau and what he's doing over at Space Ghost, in particular, not to mention other works. But it just kind of boiled down. As we went through all these lists, we were like, oh man. And obviously I'm a huge Ron Ferreira fan, so it was like that was like my almost the hill that I was dying on. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's just that whole body of work thing, and not to say that everybody else doesn't. It's just this year, I think Hayden Sherman's work just stood out, and it really stood out in some pretty not just big books, but books that are taking big swings. Dark Patterns is a different kind of Batman story, in the same way as Absolute Wonder Woman, obviously being part of the Absolute Universe, is a different story. So to be able to capture classic characters in a new light, it's a testament that it's basically just seamless.
Oh, absolutely. Hayden's structuring of panels too is on a different level. And what you saw, what he was doing in that early year of Batman, that the detective skills. See, I get too amped up. I can't even talk straight about it. That's how much I love this series. Seeing how the detective skills really came into play, and seeing how the page setup was at that time too. Because, like I said, this isn't a lot of Batman with prep time nonsense. This is Batman literally learning his craft. And to see how Sherman was setting that up, it was brilliant. And it really made this series stand out, along with Waters' writing. So definitely one of the most highly contested awards that we had amongst our team, but Hayden is taking home the trophy this year. And then next up, another highly contested one. I think this was the longest thread, a little peek behind the curtain. This was the longest thread amongst our team about who should win this.
Friendships were almost lost during this one.
Yeah. it really got into it. There was a long thread, which I think is a testament to how great comics writing is these days. But at the end of the day, one writer has literally made 2025 his year. And the versatility that he has shown in 3 major books has made him stand out from the rest for this year. And that is the one and only Dennis Camp, for the work on Absolute Martian Manhunter at DC Comics, which, to think about Martian Manhunter, who has never really been in a very long ongoing series, and to see the creative take that him and Javier Rodriguez took and ran with, it's just next level. That I will say, arguably, it's probably the best Absolute book. It's up there with Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman. It's in that conversation that you can say, throw up any issue you want of those series alone, and you can say, what's the best Absolute series? And literally, it's a debate. That's how good this series is. Then you take a look at what he's done with the Ultimates and Marvel Comics. And then to see, like, literally without that, basically that took the crown from Absolute Spider-Man as the best Absolute book or Ultimate book, I should say. And then to see Assorted Crisis Events, which I know you've reviewed many times. I mean, let's break down that series.
I mean, that's just crazy. Like, if you've never seen it, if you never read it, it's an anthology series. So every issue is different, but it deals with interdimensional or ultra dimensional happenings, if you will. And it's crazy. It's a big swing, and it's right up Dennis Camp's alley. So it's just kind of like, that's more of a passion project, you can tell, for him. But yeah, tremendous writing. When you go through everything, and that was like the deciding when it came down to it, because Joshua Williamson was also up for the running. Obviously, Scott Snyder up for the running. There was a lot of people up for the running. I will die on the David Pepos hill a lot of times, especially with all the great books that he put out this year.
Stephanie Phillips
was definitely one of the ones that we were really like, and there's more. Like the James Tynion was on the list, and then there's other people who kind of went by the wayside because of just basically like one series. Because what it basically came down to was like, all right, who was the most consistent over more series? Because that was how we had to start deciding it. Because it was literally like there was so many when you're like, okay, this one thing was amazing, but now let's get into it. So Dennis Camp just kind of like, it was like, it just kept rising. It was just kind of like, okay, this person. And then it was like, but Dennis Camp. And then it was like this person. And then it was, but Dennis Camp. And then you just have to, after a while, you just have to be like, well, you can't just say, but Dennis Camp without just making it Dennis Camp.
Yeah. No, obviously this year was his year. And obviously 2026, he has more projects coming out that's super excited to see, especially that DC Vertigo book. Cannot wait to see what's coming with that. But he's taken home the prize for best writer. And then the unsung part of comics that I'm very honored that we get to, show the honors to the best editors, because that is such a vital part of any comic. And to literally see this man's work, especially juggling around the aftermath of the Catalyst War in the Massiverse. To think about in perspective, Radiant Black was running 2 consecutive books a month with their regular series, and then 0.5 to go through with Marshall and Nathan, and then to come out of it a new stat quo that hasn't skipped a beat, along with Rogue Sun, and then Inferno Girl Red, which is now coming out to Image Comics. The Kickstarter is on the way. This year's editor of the year, Michael Basidle.
Yeah. I mean, great work, tremendous work. The whole team is, busting their asses over there. And, Basidle's really doing a great job of making sure that things are put together and work. And that's the unsung part about an editor. The editor's job isn't just like go over the book and make sure it's good and make sure the pages are good and all. I mean, that's part of the job, but the other part is really kind of being the cheerleader, if you will, for the projects. And I think he does such a great job at that second part as well as the first part. Don't get me wrong, but it's that second part that pushed him over the edge, in my opinion, when we were talking voting for this, is really being the cheerleader and out in front going, let's go, let's drive. And I think that, everybody could benefit from having him on their roster editing books, honestly.
Yeah, he's done amazing stuff. And especially coming out of such an event as the Catalyst War, kicking off a new era of the Massiverse. And they haven't missed a beat. And in fact, I think they've been on a great run of Radiant Black right now. And then Rogue Sun is coming back strong. I mean, coming off the Medieval Spawn crossover.
Oh, so good.
There's so much great things going on in the Massiverse. We could sit here and rave about that all night, but we got more awards to give out.
Oh, yeah.
And then one that was another highly debated one, Publisher of the Year.
Whew.
There's been so many great books, and you'll hear that a lot. But one publisher, I think, really made strides to make it their year. I think is more that you've heard us break down books on the shows and on the blogs and the reviews. One publisher has really stood out this year and made it their own and made it their, the talk of the town, if you will. And Rich, who are we talking?
The award for best publisher goes to DC Comics. That's right. One of the big two has been in, but why not? Absolute Line has totally dominated in the marketplace, as we've seen. I do believe, and I'm joking here, that Absolute Batman is like on the 1000th run currently for number one. Actually, no, realistically, I do believe it is a 10th. Yeah, but it might as well be 1 millionth in the world of comics. Let's be honest. Just me joking. But and then you follow that with DC KO. I mean, and now we know the future event that we're not going to be talking about because that doesn't come out till next year. But you literally start this year off with making the giant noise that is the Absolute universe, whether you're talking about Absolute Martian Manhunter, whether you're talking about Absolute Wonder Woman, and of course the big boy Absolute Batman, amongst everything else going on. But then we start ending the year with DCKO, which is this tremendous event that is really reshaping the DC universe. And shout outs to them. Like, they've really taken the ball and run with it. Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson, who have been heading up everything going on over there right now creatively behind the scenes, have really put something together, and their rules that they're living by is making DC fresh for the first time in a long time. I'm going to say that, like, as I don't, we can argue arcs and we can argue stories that DC's always done, but it's been a while since I've remembered DC being as fresh as it is right now, where you're like, oh man, almost every book I want to pick up. And then, you're not going into 2026, but you got Vertigo coming back and everything else. So 2026 is already looking like a hard year to also be DC because they're gambling. And I think that's the biggest thing to me as an indie guy. Obviously Image Comics is always great because everybody coming out of Image, whether it be Skybound Entertainment, whether it be Tiny Onion Studios, whether it be our friends at Ghost Machine, et cetera, or whether it be our friends not to do with Image, whether it's IDW Publishing or Mad Cave Studios. And they're doing tremendous work out there. And the reason why I love those so much is because they bring something fresh and daring and gambling, because their books can be so different. And DC looked at that and went, as one of the members of the big two, we should be doing that. And to give them all the credit in the world, they're starting to adopt that more indie style. So it's exciting times at DC with everything going on with the events and knowing what's coming in 2026 going, damn, it's nice when, once again, rising tides raise all ships.
Absolutely.
So having one of the big two as the best publisher, and I don't even think this was, we all made our arguments, but it was kind of like it's DC and then there's everything else.
DC has just really made strides to make you care about the characters that you might have forgotten about. As wild as that statement might sound, they've really put that emphasis back on it with the movements they've done with All In, and now to the next phase that they're going into, that we know about some books coming out, but especially with KO and the Absolute Universe. And the fact that they've been slowly building these books up, like that's the thing too. KO has been being built up through the Superman regular series for a while now, and you started seeing how this all coming to fruition. And to see how KO is put together, and KO just sounds absolutely insane to think about, but it's hitting every single mark it needs to, because it's fun, it's fresh, it's challenging in certain degrees, but it has you talking as a fan. And you're seeing that more and more online, that fans are seeing like the risk taking involved. Like you said, the gambles are there. And that's something that I think we want to see as fans, because if it's the same old same, we tune out. The attention span is so short these days, but DC has found a way to capitalize on it and grow it even further. And then to see what we're doing in the absolute universe, huge.
I mean, there's like I said, it's kind of like for us, and especially me in particular, being that I live and die indies, and I'm not saying I don't, obviously read everything else, but it's just it really was a testament for me to sit back and go, listen, I can make an argument. Like I think my closest argument to you, which was kind of funny, is I was like, we could do, I'm going to say image, and we're just going to embody everything that goes with image. And then you were just like, no, you can't do that.
Exactly.
Because I was like, if we add Skybound, Ghost Machine, Tiny Onion, regular image stuff with the Spawn universe stuff, if we add that all together and just call it image, then I think we're there. And you're like, no, like you can't take all the publishers and just and put them in one. And I'm like, but you can.
It's a great argument because it shows about what Image has been doing.
Well, Image is doing a tremendous job, but the point of the matter is I would have to take some pretty heavy hitters, some really, because like what Skybound Entertainment's doing is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The Energon universe is phenomenal if you're not in, and that's not all they're doing over there. They're doing other great series like Ghost Pepper and so much more. Creep Shows over there. Skybound is just doing a tremendous job. And then you go to IDW, who outside of the big two, you could argue has the biggest IP in the world of comics right now with TMNT. The TMNT line is back stronger than ever.
Godzilla.
And then you're adding in Godzilla on top of that, which they're doing this great job with the Kasai. But once again, just TMNT alone is, I think, pound for pound, outside of the big two, the biggest star book, if you will.
It's a debatable one. Yeah, I can see that.
And then you even look at a smaller studio like Dynamite, who's got, as I always say, arguably the best comic on the shelf in Space Ghost. They also have a really tremendous IP series like with Thundercats and with the Terminator series that they're putting out. Like, so they have a lot of cool IPs. And then Mad Cave even don't sleep on them with their IPs.
Oh, no,
whether it be the Phantom, Returning of the Phantom, which is tremendous. And of course, the Speed Racer universe is tremendous, amongst other things that they're doing. I'm not discounting, I'm just saying. And then, like I said, Tiny Onion with Exquisite Corpses. And you can go on and on and on. I could, but this is just speaking testament to what DC is doing, because you have the two big boys. You have DCKO, you have Absolute, but then you have Batman Dark Patterns, and then you have Batman and Robin, and then you have Superman, which has been a tremendous book.
Oh, it's been.
Then you have all these other books, and like I said, we could go all day. You're like, okay, The Bridge of the Tree. And once again, that's not a bad thing for comics. And I know this is not paying slight on Marvel, because people are going to be like, I noticed you didn't mention Marvel. But if you're asking me, and I've always been a DC guy anyways, but if you're asking me for the first time in a long time, I think DC is really knocking them on their ass. Just throwing it out there.
Well, DC's taking more risks. I mean, that's what ultimately comes down to. Marvel has been doing a lot of reshuffling with the X-Men line and what they have going on. Obviously, coming out of a big crossover with Doctor Doom, and seeing how that's playing out. So they've been doing some moves, but I do agree with, like, right now, I think DC has really given free reign, if you will, to the creators to kind of run in certain directions. And a lot of it's hitting, which is amazing to see as fans. But this is also making everybody else step their games up too.
Absolutely, which is good.
Oh, it's amazing. That's what I say. Like, putting lists like this together is not easy. This wasn't exactly done in a minute, folks. No. So to see DC come away with this, huge. And then we did mention something earlier about giveaways. So why don't we do the first one of the night, folks?
Oh, yeah.
So as you're seeing here, this is Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 1, Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. So we are giving this away to you.
And all you have to do is make sure, A, you're subscribed to the Fanlight Zone YouTube channel, and B, just comment. And you can comment. Actually, you get an entry for any time. So if you wanted to comment on best writer, if you wanted to comment your best writer, you want to comment your best publisher, you want to comment on all of them, you can get multiple entries, and that is how you can win Absolute Wonder Woman, which is a tremendous book. And of course, double here, because obviously DC Comics. And then on top of that, Hayden Sherman.
Yeah. So a multiple Fanlight winner.
Yeah.
So amazing to see
good
there.
Stuff. Such good stuff, pal.
Oh, amazing times. So at the halfway point of the awards now. Next up is one that obviously we're huge Kickstarter fans here. This year was a very tough one to choose. It really was. There's so many great books that you can go on there, and that direct connection with creators there, you can't beat it. But the one book that stood out to Rich and myself is probably the most creative one that I think I've heard in a while, because you take one of the most legendary acting families in Hollywood, especially if you grew up in the 90s, you put them together with the writing pair connected with the writer.
I was going to say, a famous writing family.
Yes. And then you throw in an artist who is an award winner, who is multi, like I say, to try giving him proper due. I don't know if I can, other than say he's one half of the dynamic duo behind The Pedestrian.
Exactly. And also of comics.
Yes, he is of comics. So the best Kickstarter of the year goes to the Lawrence Brothers Detective Agency, Joey, Matthew, and Andrew Lawrence, Max and Ben Berkowitz, and Sean Von Gorman of comics. So this book is going to be a trip when it officially comes out, but the Kickstarter campaign had so much nostalgia for the 90s, and it's something different. It really stood out from the pack. And especially when we spoke with the creators about it and how passionate they were. And this isn't anything just kind of going through the motions. Like, you could tell how excited they were. San Diego Comic-Con was a big deal for them. And really having that energy, it carried through. And to stand out amongst the Kickstarter crowd, where there's so many amazing books, that when this cleared campaign, we're excited to check it out and see where they go from here. And this has a potential to really take off.
Yeah, Kickstarter is always a great like room temperature in the room of things, because there's so many guys. And this is also speaking to it. There's somebody like the Lawrence brothers wanted to get involved in a Kickstarter and in a graphic novel. That is kind of like tells you that, hey, the temp in the room is great for the medium. And, you know, mixing it up there with the Berkowitz brothers, Sean Von Gorman, you know, it was a well put together project by some real professionals. And it looks that way. Like we've gotten to see some of the different art pieces and stuff like that. And it's just really good stuff. I think it's going to blow people away when it gets in the reader's hands, but it's just a tremendous book. The last stuff. And that's not taking any shots or any shade away from anybody else.
Absolutely not.
There were some tremendous Kickstarters. We had some good friends that did some great Kickstarter books. It's just that this one in particular, the what you get, what it looks like, everything about it was just like, okay, this is great.
Yeah, the total package stood out. And to see when it comes out is going to be exciting, along with some of the other nominees that we were going back and forth about. What a time to be in comics, folks.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly. Next up, though, we do have to talk about Best Limited Series. But before we get into it, we talk about heated arguments.
Yeah.
This was a category that was so heated. We want to shout out the books that almost took home the cut, because this is how close this competition was.
Oh, it was tremendous. And we should have just called this the Rich Award.
I mean, basically.
Because these were a lot of books that I reviewed, believe it or not, but tremendous books. And that had nothing to do with me doing them. You'll Do Bad Things, Tiny Onion Image Comics, tremendous book.
Amazing book.
It's a giallo in comic book form. So good. Out of Alcatraz. If you like history books that put a twist on things, tremendous book. You definitely want to check that out. Oni Press did a great job with that. Whatever Happened to the Crimson Justice. If you are tired of just your old normal superhero stories, oh my God, when you talk about old and grizzled coming back in the prime, cannot wait for the last issue. We still have not gotten to the last issue, which will be coming out very shortly.
Frank Thierry is doing amazing stuff. Frank Thierry
is dominating this. Mad Case Studios did a great job there. We're taking everyone down with us. I love this book. Love this book, and hopefully we get that chocolate cover. And if you know, you know. And last but certainly not least, another Image comic book here, News from the Fallout. If you're not reading News from the Fallout, one of the most dynamic art books, because it's different.
Yes.
And then also what they're doing on the pages is amazing. The writing is the book is fantastic. Just an amazing book. I suggest it to anybody, especially if you love to read some books. But we had to pick one.
Yeah. And this was a very, very close race.
It was.
So, like I say, this is one that you can't go wrong with any nominee winning, but we had to choose one, and we chose a monster one in the size of a bug because Bug Wars from Image Comics has taken it home.
Yeah, Jason Aaron, Mohammed Asser, Matthew Wilson, and Becca Carey doing amazing work here, talking about an entire team gelling well together. This is, listen, if you're familiar with Jason Aaron's writing, this is right up his alley.
Yep.
And the art matched it perfectly. Yes, it is what it is. Sounds like it is Mad Max meets it meets Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It is me boiling it down, and it is barbaric. It is what you want it to be. Tremendous book, got a lot of love. Image Comics did a tremendous job of promoting this one. I know that a lot of people got it in their hands and were reading it. It's a tremendous book, lots of fun, story arc, hoping that they do another little series because they tease it, but it's not ongoing yet, hence why it fit into best limited and miniseries for us.
Yeah, I mean, amazing story. So you want to check that out, definitely go do it, and definitely check out those other limited series. We cannot speak more highly about them. All of them were amazing reads. All of them need to be in your collection.
Absolutely.
Next up, though, best ongoing series, minimum 5 issues.
Minimum.
Well, we have to clarify because there's a couple that came out right at the wire because we stop our voting in mid-November.
That's true.
So we want to make sure that's clarified too, especially when we get to issue of the year, because I was already getting messaged about this before we even did the award show. But for best ongoing series, I mean,
we had some fights over here too.
Yeah, this was definitely one like we could have made about 3 graphics for.
Yeah.
But the runners up, if you will, but this was so close. Transformers, especially coming out of the Daniel Warren Johnson era into the Robert Kirkman and Dan Morrow start, which has been nothing but amazing. Absolute Wonder Woman, which once again
you can win a copy and it speaks for itself.
Exactly. That's how good this series is, and this is why I went so back and forth. Ultimate Spider-Man by Marvel Comics, one of their best series right now with Ultimates and Uncanny X-Men, in my opinion. Red Coat from our good friends over at Ghost Machine and Image Comics. What can you say about this series?
I mean, with everything going on over at Ghost Machine, this is one of those ones easily overlooked, but trust me, it's worth it. And of course, right now, we're going to be getting into very shortly here in January, the crossover event with Geiger and Red Coat. So I think a lot more people are going to get Red Coat out there and see it because Geiger does get a little bit more of a following.
Yeah, but I think obviously there's a lot of optioning going on too for different projects. And then last but not least on this one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW.
I mean, coming into November, we got to do the best of everything. We got Jason Aaron's run that finished up, and then we got we're right into the first issue of the new era. So it TMNT, once again, one of those books that money, if you aren't reading, you should be reading. It's one of the best things out there. I will stand by that. It's one of the best comics on the shelf, not just because I review it, but it's just, oh my God, the things that they're doing. And just, we were talking about this earlier, just when you think that they can't do any more surprises that make sense, they hit you with some more right in your face.
They go next level.
And it's just crazy. Like it's almost like to steal a wrestling analogy, because I always have to put them in there. It's like the golden age of AEW when it seemed like every week there was a surprise. Only this time there's no dud. They're all great.
Yeah, it's an amazing time to check that series out.
Absolutely.
But we have to give the award to one book. And like I say, this is so tough, but this is also reflects the amount of quality in this series, because ever since it came out, it's been the talk of comic fans. It's been the book on pop culture's mind, and not just because it's Bruce Wayne looking like the Incredible Hulk. This is absolute Batman ongoing series. Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta, Frank Martin, Clayton Cowles. What they've done in this series, top to bottom, is re-envisioned the world of Bruce Wayne and cranked it up to 11. Like, this is not your average Batman story by any stretch of the imagination. The fight with Bane, and that's why I went with the cover for this, was one of the most brutal things I have witnessed. It was over the top. It was insane. And it hits on that emotional level too. Like, you can't go wrong with the series. Everything that we wanted to see out of the series, they've done and amplified even more. And then to where they're going now, obviously issue 15 came out after voting, so we could not include that for the awards this year.
Was it 16?
There 15 was the Absolute Joker intro.
I was gonna
16
say,
is the crossover.
Right. I was gonna say, oh yeah, that's right. So 15 did get the cutoff. Boo.
Yeah, no, that's one I know in the comments. I'll save the time right now. Save you a click. 15 will be in the running next year for
Yeah,
issue
I was
of the
gonna
year,
say,
but
oof.
it missed the cut this year. But it also goes to show about what Scott Snyder's doing
Mhm.
and him and Nick and the synergy they have and really making this Batman story stand out.
Absolutely.
And as you think about all the years that we've had great Batman stories, like we've covered that in the past.
Mhm.
To make this stand, and it's now carving its own spot on the Mount Rushmore of Batman stories. It's a testament to the team's work, time in and time out.
Absolutely. I mean, Absolute Batman for your money is going to be one of the best comics as well. Like, I mean, I keep saying that, but it's true. I mean, Absolute Batman is the juggernaut right now of comic books, and that's why it deserves to win because it really just is. And there's so much other great books out there. There's so many, even in the Absolute universe, even the KO stuff is really good. But it's just like it's just a testament because just as I said about the Turtles, they figure out a new way to like kind of make your jaw drop. And I understand 15 isn't involved in this year, but yeah, like that's just showing you going into a new year that we have all this, and then we have crossover events coming up, and you have everything else going on. And so Absolute Batman's world is looking baller. It was looking baller last year, it's looking baller this year. It's just going to keep going.
Yeah, it's an amazing run. If you haven't checked it out, it's on a 10th printing for #1 for a reason, folks. Just saying.
I agree.
So next up, best debut issue or #1 issue of the year. We have to clarify.
#1.
And this is another one that highly debated amongst the team. And looking at the lineup this year, Absolute Martian Manhunter #1, a phenomenal debut issue, especially we didn't know what to expect. And man, did ever blow everybody away. Assorted Crisis Events #1, another Dennis Camp special, which yet again, you pick up that issue and you're like, what am I reading? But you can't put it down.
True.
That's how amazing it is. Endeavor #1 from Distillery, Mark Lamming and Stephanie Phillips. That series, issue 2 just came out. Oh my God, there's so much going on with that. Absolutely incredible work. Masterminds #1.
Yeah, Dark Horse Comics, our good friend Zach Kaplan. Amazing book. Amazing book. And especially when you could really get outshined by Kill All Immortals. And this book, oh man, for my money, holds its own. I mean, I understand Kill All Immortals gets more of the press than this book does, but oh my God, is Masterminds good. If you've not read it, you need to read it ASAP.
It's a vibe.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like it's just there's an aura around it. It's like whatever you want to call it. There's something special with this book that when you pick it up, like you're immediately entranced in it. And last but certainly not least, shout out to Aubrey Sitterson, Free Planet #1.
Oh man.
If you have not checked out Free Planet, it is an experience that you need to digest. There is so much going on with this book, and I mean this with all the praise in the world, because I pick it up, I don't want to put it down. There's so many details to the saga of the first planet that's completely free and the trouble that comes with it. And what the team is doing over there is incredible stuff. There's no book like it on the market.
Oh, absolutely not. And it's a testament to the fact that I've always said this, it's wordy, but it's good. So like, if you are somebody who really like, the art is amazing too, don't get me wrong. But
absolutely.
If you really love a rich story that has a lot of story, this is the Free Planet's the book for you. Cause it's got a lot of story that it is real good, and it mixes it in like, I can't say enough. And then, like I said, the art on top of that is, and by the way, when we're talking about lettering, the way that they figure out how to put all the words on the page and still showcase the art is a testament. It's amazing.
You want to talk about maximizing space in a book? They should be teaching classes about it, because they cram so much amazing content inside pages. It'll blow you away. So if you haven't checked it out, oh my, make a point to.
Tremendous.
But we had to give the award to one, and obviously this writer is a fan favorite here at Fanlight Zone, and the work speaks for itself. Rich, I will let you have the honors on this one.
That's right. The book that I call the pound for pound best comic on the shelf, and prove me wrong, Space Ghost Volume 2, #1, David Pepos, Jonathan Lau, Andrew Dahlhaus, and Taylor Esposito, better known as Ghost Glyph Studios. Dynamite Comics is your publisher. Listen, you thought that they couldn't get any better with Volume 1. And then David Pepos said, proverbially, hold my beer, because here we come with Volume 2. And I'm going to say, everything we all loved about Volume 1, we still love about Volume 2. And it's just getting better. And I've always said it, this is the book that for some reason, every issue gets better. And mind you, you're already doing amazing work, but every issue, in my opinion, gets better.
Yeah.
And yeah, doing the Lord's work out there is David Pepos. So much other stuff that he's doing is amazing. But Space Ghost, oh man. And you don't even have, and I've said this before, you don't have to be a fan of like the Space Ghost series, the original series, or the Space Ghost series that we all remember from when we were kids on Adult Swim. You can just dive in, and they're gonna the passion, the family camaraderie, and the action and everything, just it speaks volumes. And it's kind of like those they're 1 and 2. You have an overbearing arc, but then they're just basically 1 and 2 issue 2 issue story arcs, and you go on to the next one with the overbearing one getting solved at the end.
The one thing that we were all worried about with this series when it came out is obviously there was such an incredible run the first time.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to volume 2, can you recapture the magic? Oh, they elevated, they raised the bar. That is how good this series is. That is how amazing this team works together. And to think about the year that David Pepos has had, you think about Cable, Love, and Chrome, you think about Speed Racer, Captain Planet, and obviously Space Ghost. Like, he just doesn't miss.
No.
And anytime you see his name on the book, you should just go get it. And to see what he did here, which jumping right back into it, giving you another story that fans cannot stop talking about, it's a testament to how good he is. And he is poised to have a even greater year in 2026. We're super excited to see more Space Ghost, and obviously some of the other projects he has coming on. I cannot wait to see the return of the OZ. I know it's coming.
Yes, that has been something that is heavily teased to us. Also, obviously, Captain Planet's returning this upcoming year, and so isn't Speed Racer. Speed Racer, I do believe, is March is when the return of Speed Racer is. So keep your eyes out on that. So, like, it's tremendous work that David Pepos is doing, and all the time also putting out Space Ghost, which I said, I dare anybody to find me a bad issue of Space Ghost.
Yeah.
I've reviewed pretty much every single issue of Space Ghost, and this is not because I have rose-colored glasses on. I literally try actively, you could ask Ken, to try to find something bad.
Yeah.
Like, I actively, as I'm reviewing, going, I'm just like, yep, nope, another one. Nope, another one. So, and I have a hard grading curve. So the fact that this book just carries just like this high, bar mark, I just don't. I just don't. I always said it. I would not even be mad if one issue didn't hit, because at this point in Juntry's batting almost 1,000.
Yeah, like, it is the challenge to try finding something wrong with his work, and you can't, because it's just that damn good.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Definitely worthy of the award for best debut / number 1 issue. You haven't checked out Space Ghost, make a point to go get it at the comic shops, and that leads us to our last award.
One more award, Ken.
One more.
It's the big one.
This is the big one. I mean, quite frankly, there has to be one issue that everybody's talking about for the entire year. When it drops, it dominates the talk at the comic shops. It dominates online. When this book hits, it is the buzz. And it is one that you can't stop talking about. And just to reiterate, Absolute Batman 15 came out after Deadline.
Yes, please. We reiterate that.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of people who would be angry if not.
Well, no, the graphic went up online that we were doing the awards, and I was immediately getting a message. So, issue of the year, Batman 15, right? And I'm like, no.
Technically under our rules,
like, next year. Next year will be in the running, so it's going to have stiff competition.
Yes.
Then. But for now, the field was a very tough one here.
Best of the rest.
Transformers 24, the end of the Daniel Warren Johnson run. This was, for me, my issue of the year. And when we got debating about it, like I say, this was up there with the winner for me. Like I said, this absolutely just blew me away. Grimm 24, not the final issue of Grimm, even though that is up there too for me. But what they did to kind of tie off the story of Jessica Harrell, amazing stuff. Stephanie Phillips, Flaviano, Rico Renzi, and Tom Napolitano, just amazing stuff. Absolute Batman Annual, Daniel Warren Johnson, amazing issue if you haven't checked that out. Batman Deadpool.
No.
So this
crossover.
is one Grant Morrison was writing, Dan Mora was on the art, and this was absolutely as wild as you would think it would be. And the backup stories too, just insane, but amazing work nevertheless. And then
then the one that arguably was my favorite of the year, although the winner is also one that I love, but TMNT number 12, the end of the Jason Aaron Juan Ferrero run on the TMNT line, and probably for my money this year, the greatest surprise last page, not even panel, page, with the reveal that Splinter's alive.
Yeah.
Kind of. We'll we dive into that more. As I said before, I don't think that's a big spoiler now, because as we are now going into 13 and 14 will be coming out in February, to see where they went. I have always said, and I said it when I did the review, that this was one of those times where they handed the silver platter to the next writer. Like, you're not putting the person behind, you literally left them with value. And to see what Gene Wen Yang and Freddie Williams III have done with that, even one issue in, and well, I mean, I've had the privilege of reading 14, but with seeing where they've gone with it, OMG, they're just heading out of the park. So it was real hard for me to not give this one, but the argument came up. We had to pick an issue of the year, and we gave it to another book that I thought deserved to have this thing, because let's be honest, it's one of the most unique concepts in comics. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. And when this issue dropped, this was the talk at the shops. It dominated online, and rightfully so, for the concept, the execution, everything about it was nothing short of a massive win. And immediately there were reviewers, podcasters, creators, all commenting, and immediately said, this is my issue of the year.
Yeah. And I want to point out, this thing has taken off so much. What other comic book has got a tour? They're currently on the Corpse Tour.
Yeah.
What other comic book has a tour? Not to mention a card game that's dropping next year. Not to mention already planning for this to be ongoing beyond. Like, I honestly, the concept alone, and I mean, I guess we should give it away. I guess we just not, because what is the issue of the year, Ken?
The issue of the year is Exquisite Corpses from Image Comics and Tiny Onion. James Tynion IV, Michael Walsh, Jordy Belair, and Becca Carey. What an issue.
Oh,
tremendous. I mean, to try explaining this is one of those that you have to read to experience.
Absolutely. I mean, as somebody who has been reviewing this since issue 1 and is got it, I have a good concept behind it. But at the end of the day, the first issue, laying down the 13 families, playing the 13 original colonies represented by the 13 most powerful families, who every 5 years have to play a little game to see who runs the country behind, because this is a shadow government, people. And we have to find out who's going to run the country. And the way you do that is you go to a sleepy town. And then each family has a killer. And that killer is fighting in a tournament pretty much, basically to get the most body count and to be the last one standing. Because the tiebreaker, if there's more than one when the time is up, is the body count. But, the goal is to be the last killer standing. And then, and only then, will we have the power, the family is going to be in power for the next 5 years. And that's the concept alone. And then the other second part of the concept that you don't get in the first issue, which they lay down the groundwork, is that this book, every issue is written and art by a different writer and artist. Yes, James Tynion IV and Michael Walsh oversee everything. However, that writer and that artist get to choose what they're doing, how they're doing it. And I'm sure there's guidelines, because when I got to ask the question, it was confirmed. There is guidelines. They know who's going to win. So you gotta kind of, it's kind of like when you set up the Royal Rumble or any battle royal, got to keep your hands off. You can mess with that person, but this person's going to win, right? But at the end of the day, we've had some great up and coming and I would say legendary writers and artists who have already touched this book, with more to come.
Yes.
So, I mean, just that alone, but this first issue, laying down the groundwork, explaining what we're in, how we got here, introducing the killers, which all of them are interesting. I mean, they're all these different kinds, different strokes for different folks, if you will. And it's so cool to see. The art on this is so phenomenal. It's a lot of vibrant colors. It would be real easy for this to be over the top gory, but because of the color choices, it actually tones it down, which is good though.
Yeah.
I mean, and they've taken some big swings, as we know from different issues, and a lot of them have paid off, and some of them just make you go, ooh, I don't know if I would have gone that far. but that's the creativity that they're allowed to run with, and to see, like I say, that's something we've mentioned throughout the night here. To see the creativity in comics really get pushed to new levels and really take chances. When it hits like this, the fans are going to react in a most positive way, and that's all this book has been doing. Like, it's caused I don't want to say a cult following, but it's really
take in the fandom, and once you pick up those issues, you're immediately hooked in. And to get that and just steamroll that throughout the year since it dropped, it's a testament to the creative team behind it. It's a testament to everybody that's connected to this book, and it's only got a brighter future ahead in the upcoming year.
And like I said, to see this corpse tour and to see the corpse crew, because that's what they, everybody refers to themselves as, the fans of this, and to do a tour, to go to different comic book shops, on a weekly basis, and really kind of draw crowds, bringing great businesses to the LCS, but on top of that, just to see the passion, you're not going to get that from everywhere. And obviously when James Tynan puts his name on a book, people pay attention.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's something different, and they're just really, I love the fact that they're touching the tip of the iceberg. That's all we're seeing. We are not getting them, because this is going to carry on. They call them seasons. They're 13 issue seasons. This is season 1. And as we go in, there will be season 2. And it's not going to be the same exact story. So, and with mixing it up, it's just one of those phenomenal things. And you're adding in things like a card game, which I can't wait for more people to see, because it's just a really cool concept, and it does lend itself to being a game.
Yeah.
And I think that they're doing really big things. And once again, testament to Image and what Image is putting out there, and allowing publishers like Tiny Onion to really flourish, and giving them that distribution that you need. So you can never, when we were talking earlier about adding all the pieces of Image in to compete, it's another one of those images, and such a good job. And I can't put it over enough. I'm going to pontificate, but you don't have to take my word for it, because, hey, we said 2 giveaways. So because Exquisite Corpses, #1 was issue of the year, we have the trade paperback of Exquisite Corpses right here. And guess what? One person will win. Once again, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, tell us we were right, tell us we were wrong, give us your picks. All of those enter you in to win not just a copy of Exquisite Corpses, but also a copy of Absolute Wonder Woman. What's just 2 different giveaways?
Yep.
So 2 people will win.
2 people are winning.
Not one person. I mean, technically one person could win both, but you'd have to get lucky twice. But enter now, enter more, because we want to see you guys get some amazing comics in your hands.
Absolutely. So you want to make sure you're following us on all the social medias. But like I said, this giveaway is for YouTube only. But if you're following on all the social media accounts you see on the screen right now, you can be entered in for more. You just got to watch it, because we're going to throw the graphic up, because we have some more books to give away. So stay tuned.
Yes.
But that's it for the Fanlight Awards for the first year. So, Rich, let's put a bow on it. 2025. How would you describe the year in comics?
It's going to be a hard year to follow in 2026. 2025, in my opinion, and I know I keep saying for my money, because let's be honest, the reason I keep saying that is because we're out here buying, we're not just reviewing the books, we're buying the books, we're fans, same as you. So you have to spend money on these products, whether you're doing that at the LCS, which I hope you are, or you're doing that on such great platforms like Neon Ichiban and other digital platforms. You are buying and you are supporting this art in this movement. And that's awesome. So this was one of those years where I don't think you really went wrong. There were so many different directions you could enjoy. If you enjoyed horror comics, there was so many amazing horror comics this year. We even scratched the iceberg on that. So many, but we did give a shout out to a bunch of them, including Exquisite Corpses, who watched one issue of the year with a number of that. And of course, You'll Do Bad Things came into the mix, things like that. So, and there's so much more. And there's, although I'm saying 2026 is going to have a hard year to follow, there's still a lot of promise in 2026. And I think it might just be this case of, hey, we had such a good 2025. They're going to roll into an amazing 2026, because right around the corner, we have the next DC, iteration. We also have DC Vertigo returning. We have such great books. Exquisite Corpses obviously still hitting its stride. We have some more great books coming out from Tiny Onion. Skybound crushing it with the Energon universe, and it doesn't look like they're slowing it down. Our good friends over at Massive doing some amazing things, and that doesn't look like it's slowing down. And Marvel might have not had a great, it didn't have a bad 2025, but it might have not been talked about, but its 2026 is looking good.
Let me put it this way. Marvel is due to come back with a vengeance in 2026. The new Daredevil lineup.
Stephanie Phillips
and Levy Garbutt. That's going to be a monster book.
How about Joshua Williamson, Iron Man?
Yep. That's going to be huge. The end of the Ultimates universe, asterisk, because I don't know anything, but I'm like, it's going to go out in an amazing fashion because Dennis Camp.
I was going to say the fact that Dennis Camp is doing the end of that is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So I could see that rolling into something else and being another event. Like it could happen.
Even if it doesn't, I'm telling you, I have such faith in Dennis Camp. If his name is on a book, I promise you, go read that book.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's and that's not just that's the fan in me. Like as much as I talk about Pepos, as much as I talk about Joshua Williamson, Dennis Camp, if you see his name, you have to read the book.
Oh, absolutely. So that's why I say, like, I don't know what's going to happen with that end of it. Like, I could see it going 9 million directions, but it's Dennis Camp, so I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And to see what they're doing, we're coming out with a brand new rebirth for the X-Men line.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cool books coming with that new Cyclops series. I'm actually really excited.
I saw those images and went, ooh.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. I've never been a fan of what I call the Choir Boys. And don't get me wrong, I have respect, but Spider-Man, Superman, Cyclops, but they might be making Cyclops a badass in this one. Yeah. I mean, he has been before, but they usually tone him down. But I don't know. I'm seeing some stuff. I'm intrigued.
I'm definitely intrigued too. But like I say, 2025 had set the bar pretty high. 2026 on paper right now looks to even be a better year. And that's hard to say, but that's a testament to the creators behind this. They're literally pouring their heart and soul into these books. So make sure you're going out and you're buying them and supporting them and being positive online, talking about them. Like, listen, whatever you don't like, somebody else does. And we need to remember that in this day and age. And if you really love celebrating it, find fellow fans that dig the same book and start that conversation. That's how you build a better community, folks.
I was going to say, and there's a lot of great places to build communities. I mean, the LCS is ground zero. If listen, occasionally, even if you don't normally go to an LCS, if you're out of town or something, stop at an LCS. Like, I don't know how many times I've gone out of town, stopped at the LCS in town just to see if they had an issue that I might not be able to get locally. Or a lot of times it's just a bomb around. I always leave with something because that's my rule. I'm always going to leave with something. But at the same point, it's cool because you get to talk and you have these great. I mean, I just had a great conversation a few weeks ago in Allentown at the Lehigh Valley Mall. They have an LCS inside of the mall. I had a great conversation with one of the workers there about, she's a huge horror comics fan. So I got to tell her about Devil on My Shoulder. I got to tell her about I Saw Santa because they both of those first issues had just dropped. And I'm like, you need to read these because they're amazing. On top of like everything else. I also, You'll Do Bad Things came up and a bunch of other stuff. But I digress. Those kind of interactions are awesome. Because then I got some, suggestions from them. And mind you, I like to say that we keep our fingers on the pulse of comics because that's what we have to do here at Fanlight Zone. And furthermore, obviously reviewing. But that doesn't mean I know everything. And I don't get a chance to read everything. So if somebody tells me, hey, you should check this out, and I hadn't read it, I'm going to go find it and read it.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we do, because obviously we're listening to you online. We're having those conversations, and that's what builds it as well as going to the comic shops, as well as being out there and really making the comics community as a better place, is, doing it from our ground up, because that's obviously where we have to go. Nowhere but up with this, folks. So that being said, that was the first annual Fanlight Awards here on the Fanlight Zone. On behalf of Rich and myself, thank you as always for checking out Fanlight Zone. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. Talk to me. It's such waste of time swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.